100 years ago, the great author Joseph Conrad wrote a tale of hardship and horror in which he called this overpowering rainforest the Heart of Darkness. He told of an epic journey up the Congo River, now called the Zaire, to its headwaters in the vast Ituri forest. Even today, much of that forest is unexplored, and one of its greatest mysteries is a spectacular relative of the giraffe, the Okapi. Discovered only this century, almost nothing was known about the Okapi when doctors Terese and John Hart began their research in 1986. Seen here, setting out to study one of the world's most shy and elusive animals, the Harts, at first glance, appear to have little chance of success. But the Harts have not only discovered much about the Okapi, they have also raised a family and made many firm friendships with the BaMbuti, the people of the forest who have made their work possible. For this family, the great rainforest has not been the heart of darkness. For them, it has been a source of joy and discovery. For them, it has been the heart of brightness. The Okapi's main stronghold is here, the Ituri forest in eastern Zaire, the very center of Africa. Anyone hoping to catch a glimpse of an Okapi, let alone study them, must have one prime qualification. They must be able to walk. Really walk. And the Harts spend much of their lives walking. John came to Zaire in 1973 to study the Pygmies' way of life and the impact of their hunting on the forest. Terry came out a year later with the Peace Corps, and they married in 1976. Since then, with occasional trips back to the States, most of their time has been spent here in the rainforest. Their study area is 20 kilometers off the narrow track that runs through the Ituri, and the Harts trek in and out as regularly and as easily as most of us visit the supermarket. La Jo, their youngest daughter, is just 4 months old and has made this journey many times. Every few miles, the Harts must stop to feed her, but she doesn't slow down the march. Their 3 girls join in on most of their projects, and in recent years, in addition to their research work, the Harts have been working with the Zaire Institute for the Conservation of Nature and the New York Zoological Society to try to get the Ituri forest made into a national park.
Yeah, nice. Nice.
Ahead of them is Sarah, aged 12. She likes to travel alone and out in front, where she can watch the creatures of the forest undisturbed. This is a Goliath beetle, the largest in Africa. It looks monstrous, and in flight sounds like a motorbike, but it's a harmless fruit eater that only comes to the ground to lay its eggs. Bringing up the rear is 8-year-old Becca with a gang of her friends. They pretend, and it's only partly pretense, to be scared of bolozis, the forest spirits. They keep up a constant noise like a flock of parrots and beat the bushes to keep the bolozis away. And a chameleon is certainly a bolozi. The girls race to catch up with the main group, but it won't be long before they fall behind again. To get all their materials and supplies out to their base camp, the Harts needed porters. The BaMbuti, the pygmy tribe that inhabit the forests of eastern Zaire, are prodigious walkers and carriers, and formed a lifeline for the camp. But the relationship went far beyond the need for porters, for the Harts realized early in their work that the BaMbuti had much more to contribute than the speed of their legs or the strength of their backs. The BaMbuti do not just live in this forest, they live with it. They use its plants, hunt its animals, and respect its spirits. Benyali shows John a seed that's been chewed by a squirrel. Even bent under a heavy load, he spotted it on the track and knew its story. Every Mbuti is a walking encyclopedia of the forest, and it is their skills and wisdom, cheerfully shared with the Harts, that have made the research project possible. Their knowledge is all-encompassing. They know and understand the balance between the forest's beauties, its dangers, and its gifts. The secrets of the elusive Okapi would be uncovered only with their help. Before they began their Okapi research, the Harts studied a group of small forest antelopes, the duikers. There are 6 species in the Ituri. This is the smallest, the blue duiker. The Harts wanted to understand how their food and space requirements conflicted or overlapped. The BaMbuti had many of the answers. Atoka shows Terry where a blue duiker has rested at the base of a tree. It hid there to chew the cud and has regurgitated various seeds from fruit eaten in some other part of the forest, confirming that the duiker is important for seed dispersal. Terry is doubtful that a tiny blue duiker could eat a fruit as large as this. Atoka says it's possible. And sure enough, he's right. And the pygmies have good reasons to know a lot about duikers, for these little antelope are their favorite food. There are no fixed patterns in the Mbuti way of life. Whenever the mood takes them, they move deep into the forest and set up a hunting camp. Almost everything they need comes from the forest. Their huts go up in a matter of hours, a simple framework of sticks thatched with mangongo leaves that might have been designed for the job. Some pygmy groups hunt with bows and arrows. Others set these large mesh nets to catch antelope. Again, the forest provides. The women shred the fibers from a liana called kusa, and the men twist it into long, heavy strings. The nets can be over 200 meters long and about 1 meter high. They are highly prized, always kept dry and in top condition. A good net is a family's meal ticket. A tranquil scene. But no society is without some sort of tensions. A man has fought with his wife, and the group show their disapproval. The BaMbuti don't suppress their emotions. They get it off their chest with no deferrals and no hard feelings. A woman mixes the juice of a forest fruit with charcoal for a painting session, and the mood quickly changes. Just as there are no fixed patterns in their way of life, there is a similar freedom of expression in their art. The designs are never repeated, one-off variations on themes that echo down the years. Tomorrow, except for the very young and old, they will go hunting. The organization of a pygmy net hunt appears almost telepathic. No one man is in charge, and there may be up to 30 people spread over a square kilometer of forest. Westerners would need maps and walkie-talkies. The BaMbuti use just a few quiet words. From a starting point called Ebito, half the nets go left. This is Mange, the bow, for the bow is held in the left hand. The nets on the right are named after the weapon carried in the right hand, Ekonga, the spear. Each net is put up by one man in a matter of minutes, and when ready, they will form an almost full circle. A line of beaters complete the circle, and at a signal will drive any enclosed animals into the nets. The trap is set. Each man waits at his net, ready for whatever the forest may bring. Now it is up to the charms on the nets, the guinea fowl feathers or lucky seeds, and the beaters. Normally, the BaMbuti would be killing these animals for meat, but this hunt has been specifically organized to help the Harts with their research project. The catches this time are all dikers. Some are put into dark baskets, where they will lie quietly until they are transferred to nearby pens. Here, their various food preferences can be studied before they are released back into the forest. Others are fitted with radio collars, so their movements and activity patterns can be followed. The white-bellied duiker, the bay duiker, and even the large and dangerous yellow-backed. The pygmies knew a great deal about duikers already, but with this combination of ancient skills and modern technology, the Harts were able to discover much more. Recognizing 6 species of duiker was easy, but identifying the hundreds of plant species in the forest was a daunting task. Again, the BaMbuti have been doing this for centuries and were way ahead of the researchers. They have uses for many of the forest plants and names for most of them. They group their plants into families according to appearance or use as food, medicines, and so on. There are even plants that they rub on the noses of their hunting dogs to sharpen their sense of smell. Collecting botanical specimens in a rainforest can be extremely difficult, for many trees set their seeds and flowers high in the canopy, accessible only to an Mbuti. The pygmies are masterful climbers, and without their help, there would be huge gaps in the Hart's botanical collection. The taller the tree, the greater the challenge. But the BaMbuti have not developed their climbing skills to go picking flowers. They climb to collect the products of those flowers. Honey. The honey season is the high point of the year, and as soon as the first bees' nests are found, all the camp joins in a dance to ensure a plentiful season and to celebrate the coming bounty. The best honey hunter in the area blows his ritual honey pipe. He mimes the actions of searching for bees' nests and listening for their hum. And rather as we ring in the new year, he pipes in the new honey season. Marijuana grows like a weed here and is often smoked on such occasions. But no, this is not a giant joint, and these men wouldn't smoke anything that might affect their judgment before doing what they are about to do. This smoke is to drug the bees, not the men. Without any artificial stimulants, they're going to get very high indeed, over 100 feet. The giant tree that houses the bees would be very difficult to climb, so the Bambuti shin up a slimmer neighboring trunk. With no climbing aids or safeguards, they clamber right through the tree and emerge from its topmost branches. Now, using lianas, they will transfer across to the giant. It's a big nest. There will be lots of honey. Kengi can't wait. The smoke will disorient the bees and make them soporific. But Bulaimu and Lomba will get dozens of stings on their exposed bodies. The great danger is being stung so badly that they lose their heads and fall. As their only source of sweetness, honey is very important to the Bambuti, and they take enormous risks to collect it. A good nest will yield over a gallon of honey, which is put into the basket and lowered to the ground with lianas. Kenge will start eating immediately, so the younger men waste no time getting down to join him. It's the first honey of the season, and it's the hunters' privilege to gorge themselves. So little, if any, of this bounty will get back to the village. Honey is almost the only kind of sweets that the Hart girls ever have. And they prize it as much as do the pygmies. Sarah and Becca grew up here in a mud-built house on the banks of the Ipulu River, one of the many tributaries of the great Zaire river system. All the family's cooking and bathing water comes from the river, and most of their food from their own garden or those of their African neighbors. Of necessity, John and Terry often spend days away in the forest, but the girls are now part of the extended family of their parents' helpers, so they are never short of company. They spend a lot of time around the open-air kitchen that is the focal point of the compound, talking with the women and helping to prepare and cook the food. A dish of forest mushrooms, or peanuts roasted over the fire, then put into a wooden pestle where they are pounded into the local version of crunchy peanut butter. Crunchy because a few grains of sand always get into the mixture. Sarah has spent most of her life here, but she's just beginning to outgrow this rustic scene. The girls have a tutor for their schoolwork, but soon Sarah will be leaving Ipulu and her pet hyrax to go to school in America. A change and a challenge she looks forward to eagerly. Becca was born here at Ipulu, with an African midwife attending. Like Sarah before her, she leads a carefree life, playing with her friends from the nearby village. She is a creature of two worlds, but they are harmonious worlds, and she slips back and forth as easily as a fish slides from sunlight to shadow. There is good fishing here. There are crocodiles too, but they seldom attack humans. Well, nearly. But it's not an exaggeration to say these children have an idyllic lifestyle. Surrounded by friends and family, constantly exposed to new sights and sounds, they have lives as adventurous and unusual as their parents, John and Terry. Perhaps even more so. The girls are playing at a dance the Mbuti girls will perform when they reach puberty. Ideally, only the bottom half should move, but what Becca lacks in technique, she makes up in enthusiasm. Terry works on her plant collection with Claude, one of many students and helpers who are not BaMbuti, and who come from all over Zaire. But for most of their work, the Harts must leave this relative comfort and go deep into the forest. Today, the loads are being packed for a new season of research. It's term time, so the girls will stay behind, and John and Terry will head for their second home, Afarama, their camp deep in the Ituri, where they are finally unraveling the mysteries of the Okapi. Kilometers down the track and another 20 on foot, the Harts research camp has been here for 4 years and has been the collecting point for almost everything that is known about the Okapi in the wild. Half a kilometer out of camp, John announces their arrival by banging on the buttress roots of a forest giant. And gets the usual boisterous reply. Before the BaMbuti start any task in the forest, they hold a ceremony called kutambikia to show respect to the spirits. Collecting bouquets of fragrant leaves from all the important plants in the forest, they plunge them into the fire, then joyfully wash themselves in the smoke. There is no rigid ritual. It is really a celebration, a way of being at peace with the forest and getting its approval for their work. Calling out a litany of renowned ancestors and important plants, Louis, a chosen elder, throws on a leaf for each name, and the smoke carries their message up to the spirits. For the next few weeks, the BaMbuti are out all day, moving through the forest as only they can, searching for tracks or signs of Okapi and deciding on the best places to put the traps. The forest floor is sandy, so it's fairly easy to dig the 2-meter deep pits. They are dug in the dry season, so they don't fill with water, and are covered with a framework of saplings, then a layer of the large mangongo leaves that the pygmies use for their roofs. When the pit is ready, all signs of disturbance are covered with a layer of leaf litter, and then it's left for time, chance, and the spirits to play their part. Now, the forest will decide. Up to 200 pits will be dug, and over a month may pass without results. It's a time of unrelenting tension for everyone. Small creatures pass over the pit as safely as we cross a bridge. The rare grey-throated rail or a checkered elephant shrew are not at risk. A big rhinoceros viper may weigh over 5 kilos, but with its weight spread over several feet, it too can pass over the pit. Anything much bigger could break through and will have to be released. So every morning, small teams of BaMbuti move out to check all the pits. They only have to look at some holes in the ground, but they see everything. And they see beauty in everything. Some creatures that get caught are simple to let out. The long-tailed pangolin needs only a single pole to climb. And the long-nosed mongoose needs only a couple. This yellowback duiker will need a ramp dug at one end of the pit. So too will the bush pig. And then, finally, an Okapi comes along. The BaMbuti patrols are frequent enough that an animal will spend only a few hours at most in the pit before it is found. Kayo and Ramazan confirm the Okapi is unhurt, then cover the pit with leafy branches to keep the animal quiet while they rush the news back to camp. At times like this, the advantages of the pygmies' size are clear. They can slip through tangled vegetation that would slow a bigger person to a crawl. The giraffe family are remarkably placid animals, and the Okapi is no exception. A barrier is placed at the head end of the pit and levered forward to restrict the animal's movement. Now the radio collar will be put on as quickly as possible. The BaMbuti had told the Harts much about Okapi, the plants they ate or the parts of the forest they preferred. The collars would add new information about how far they traveled, the size of their home ranges, who they associated with and for how long, all helping to build up a picture of the way these enigmatic animals live. As soon as the collar is on, a ramp is dug into the pit and the barrier is moved aside. There are always feelings of great relief and joy among the team as the first Okapi of the season goes off safely into the forest. The spirits have favored them.
Hey, Pulu here, over.
Hello, Sarah. How are you, honey? Over?
All right, no news here. How's Afarama?
Well, we've got some great news out here. We caught a big female Okapi today. Over?
Oh! Hi, Mama. Does it have any name, over?
We're thinking about Mbao because she was caught under the Mbao trees. Remember those pits?
Oh!
How was school, honey? Over?
We learned, right? We learned times today.
Times, like 2 times 2, over?
Yeah.
Well, what is 2 times 2, over?
2 times 2 is 4. Over.
Pretty good. Did any friends come over today, over?
Yeah, Maforiki and Ampuko. We just eat in the kitchen here while you're gone.
Okay, pretty good. Do you have any other news in Epulu, over?
Nothing here, over. Goodbye, Mama. Here's Becca to say goodbye, too. Bye, Mama. Over.
Good night. Sleep well.
You too. Over now, Addie Pulu.
Okay, Afarama out.
Over.
Sometimes all the family are in the forest, as they were when this youngster was caught. Okapis have a single calf, born very large, which is left hiding in thick vegetation and visited by the mother only a couple of times a day. Having a collar on such a young animal was a great opportunity to learn more about that relationship. The males have short, hair-covered, bony growths on their heads that resemble horns. The females have only small bumps there, but are taller and heavier than the males. Most okapis are amazingly calm. A few are stormy. And some are just plain difficult. In the 4 years of their study, the Harts have caught and collared over 20 okapis in this way, and in that time have learned almost everything that has been learned about this animal since it was first discovered less than 100 years ago. And so the great Ituri forest, the heart of darkness, is starting to give up its secrets. Moving along 300 kilometers of foot trails they have cut through the forest, Dieudonné and other Zairois assistants help track the Okapi's every move, slowly building an ever more detailed picture of what is still one of the least known of the large mammals. The Okapi is an exclusive leaf eater and feeds very selectively, helped by its narrow face, mobile lips and long tongue. It feeds primarily on about 40 species of plant, concentrating on tree fall gaps where the new growth is within easy reach. And if it's not in reach, the Okapi has a solution. The BaMbuti knew the signs. Males mark their presence in an area by walking astride small trees, urinating as they go. And both sexes rub their necks on larger trunks, leaving a greasy brown deposit. Like their taller cousins on the savannah, they must spread their forelegs to get down to drink. The males have overlapping home ranges of up to 12 square kilometers. They only occasionally visit the adult females who have their own smaller but exclusive and more stable home ranges and who appear to be dominant to the males. The forest floor is littered with fallen tree trunks. And for such a heavy and strangely shaped animal, the Okapi is an accomplished jumper. As to why it has evolved its dramatic zebra-like rear end, that is anybody's guess. One interesting discovery was that many Okapi have huge scars, like these, where the stripes have healed jaggedly. And some have badly shredded ears. There is only one animal in the forest that could do this sort of damage: the leopard. Leopards are the largest predators in the rainforest. They feed mainly on duikers and monkeys, but they also quite commonly kill Okapi. Even an adult female nearly 6 times the cat's weight. But a leopard that killed one of the Hart's collared animals had a surprise in store. Chimpanzees are the only animal in the forest that the leopard need fear. And they like meat. When they get really wound up, chimps beat their feet on tree roots to add more noise to their display. When John and his helpers arrived later that day, the chimps were in possession of the carcass. There are still a million secrets in the Ituri. And as a new research season starts, the BaMbuti, the keepers of so many of those secrets, come to bless their beloved forest. Modern technology was essential for the Hart's work, but it was the ancient skills and wisdom of these forest people that made it all possible. By learning from them and building onto that great fund of knowledge, the Harts have made some wonderful friends and come to a deeper understanding of the forest and of the elusive Okapi. In his novel Heart of Darkness, Joseph Conrad's famous final, despairing comment on this vast and brooding forest was the horror. The horror. The Hart family have seen it very differently. They would say, the joy. The joy.